The question is, who's more psychologically healthy? I think the answer is intuitively obvious to most people. Of course, it's the one who doesn't digest death, destruction, war, famine, and catastrophes all day long. But the interesting question is, why is that? In metacognitive therapy, we have this model called SREF, which stands for Self-Regulatory Executive Function. The basic premise is that our mind regulates itself if we don't do anything. If you win the lottery, you will be happy for a few days or weeks, and then it will return to baseline again. The same for negative emotions. It's like having a wound. If you just put a band-aid on and leave it be, instead of constantly scratching and ripping off the band-aid to show the wound to other people, it will automatically heal. I'm not saying that all your problems will be solved if you ignore them. In MCT, we differentiate between problem 1 and problem 2. For example, problem 1 could be that you have to present your project at work. This is the concrete problem. But problem 2 is all your worries about presenting, like, oh no, what if it goes wrong? What if I forget what I have to say? What if they don't like my project? And so on. Imagine if all these worries weren't there and you could just focus on presenting your project. Imagine how much easier it would be. Alright, so on the lower level in this model, we have automatic thoughts. You might see an object and perhaps you will get an association, but not much else happens. We constantly get automatic thoughts. If I say pink elephant, I will undoubtedly have created a pink elephant in your thoughts. We all get these automatic thoughts all the time. I think most people waiting for the train has had a thought like, what if I kick that person down on the tracks? Or what if I jump out in front of the train when it arrives? To most of us, these thoughts just pop up and we think they're just silly ideas. And for some people, these are intrusive thoughts that really take on a life of their own, as we, for example, see in OCD. Pink elephant. Now I created another one. Before we move on, I just want to add an important detail. Studies show we have 30 to 50,000 thoughts a day. I saw one brain scan study that showed we have 6,000 thoughts a day, but that's probably too low because they only measure the change from one state to another. Do you think you could remember just 100 of the thoughts you had yesterday? Probably not. Most people would struggle to remember even 10 thoughts. And that's only about 0.03% of 30,000 thoughts. So my question to you, what's the difference between the thoughts you remember from yesterday and the ones you do not? The answer is quite simple. It's that you give them attention. On the middle level, we have the cognitive style, which is a conscious processing of these automatic thoughts. A key idea in metacognitive therapy is that psychological disorders are tied to a specific thinking pattern called the Cognitive Attentional Syndrome, CAS. For most people, emotions like sadness, anxiety, anger, or feelings of worthlessness are brief and pass on their own. But when the CAS kicks in, it locks people into prolonged or repetitive cycles of these negative emotions and thoughts, making them much harder to escape. This effect biases the lower level, making a vicious cycle. CAS consists of 5 different thinking styles that backfire. 1. Worry, which is typically aimed towards the future and is associated with anxiety. It's thoughts like, oh no, what if they don't like me? Or, what if my child gets lost on the way to his friend's house? 2. Rumination is typically aimed towards the past and is linked with depression. It's thoughts like, I'm such a loser. Why did I not finish my education? Why did I not try harder? 3. Threat monitoring, where someone constantly scans their environment or the media for potential dangers. This could be looking for social cues, for example, signs of disapproval, or global threats, for example, catastrophic news stories. 4. Self-monitoring. Constantly feeling your body. Am I tired? Is my heart beating faster than usual? For example, a person who monitors his or her pulse with a smartwatch. Every moment they check if their pulse is now out of control. Or perhaps they constantly tell themselves that they are tired. Did I get enough sleep? I only got 7 hours and I need 8 hours to function, and so on. These kind of thoughts paradoxically disrupt sleep by keeping the mind active. 5. Unhelpful coping strategies. Avoiding thoughts by binge-watching Netflix or using substances like alcohol in an attempt to escape overwhelming thoughts. It could also be trying to suppress thoughts, but this is ultimately like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It demands significant energy and focus, and when you let go, the thoughts resurface forcefully. The higher level is your meta system, which consists of beliefs and plans. This, of course, influences what kind of processing happens on the mid-level. These metacognitive beliefs are split into two categories: positive and negative metacognitions. Positive metacognitions are beliefs that see worry, rumination, or threat monitoring as helpful or necessary, acting as a permission slip for repetitive thinking. It's beliefs like, worrying prepares me for solutions, rumination provides insight, threat focus ensures safety. Negative metacognitions are beliefs depicting thinking as uncontrollable, dangerous, or disruptive, fostering helplessness and fear. Such beliefs amplify intrusive thoughts and often lead to unsuccessful attempts at avoidance or suppression. It's beliefs like, worrying is unstoppable, rumination will cause breakdown. These thoughts mean I'm going mad. These beliefs are what will be targeted and challenged by the therapist with questions like, you tell me ruminating helps you find answers, and you spend around 5 hours a day ruminating. Have you found the answer yet? No? Okay, so how much longer do you think you'll need to find the answer? The antidote to this cash thinking is called detached mindfulness. Let's imagine a scenario that encapsulates the idea of detached mindfulness perfectly. Do you like sushi?
Oh, absolutely. I love sushi.
Have you ever been to a sushi restaurant with a conveyor belt?
Yes, a few times. It's so fun watching all the dishes go by.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything you don't like there?
Ugh, those big shrimp on rice. They're just not my thing, too chewy.
Okay, so who decides what goes on your plate?
Me. I get to pick the ones that make my taste buds happy.
Now imagine you are at this amazing sushi restaurant with your husband and kids. Everyone is happy, laughing, and having a great time. What do you do when the big shrimp comes around?
I just let it glide on by. No way I'm grabbing that one.
Your family is eating the big shrimp on rice and tells you it's the best, urging you to give it a try. So you try it. What do you think happens?
I take a bite, and yeah, it's still not for me. I'd probably finish the piece to be polite, but I'm not loving it.
Okay, so what happens the next time the big shrimp comes along on the conveyor belt?
I'd just let it pass again. I know it's not worth my time.
Right. Let's say for some reason you could only eat the big shrimp.
Oh, I'd be miserable. I'd probably feel queasy and just, so over it.
What do you think would happen if you kept eating it?
Totally on how gross I feel. I'd be stuck in my head, thinking about how much I hate those shrimps.
Yeah? And where do you think your focus would be?
I'd probably be a bit withdrawn, maybe even snappy.
How do you think your family would experience you?
Definitely not the fun, present mom or wife I want to be.
So what do you think the chefs would do when they see all the big shrimp disappearing?
They'd probably think, wow, this is a hit, and keep piling on more shrimp.
Yeah, when you've been stuffing yourself with these big shrimp pieces, Do you have room for your favorite sushi rolls?
No way. I'd be so full, I'd miss out on the spicy tuna rolls I love.
So if you think about your thoughts in the same way as the conveyor belt sushi, what kind do you pick the most?
Oh, gosh. I think I grab way too many of those big shrimp thoughts, like worrying about work or if I'm doing enough for my kids. It's exhausting.
If you say your brain can handle approximately 30 to 50,000 plates, how would you feel if you had to eat big shrimp for 5 hours in a row?
5 hours? I'd feel so drained, sad, and honestly, kind of hopeless. It's like I'm stuck in a loop.
What would happen to the big shrimp if you just let the dish pass and did nothing?
It would just keep moving along, and that'd be it. It might come back around, but I'd just let it pass again. No big deal.
What would the chefs do?
They'd see nobody's taking the shrimp and start making less of it. More room for the good stuff.
Yes, and there'd be more space for the sushi you actually like. At the beginning, we talked about who decides which plates you pick, and you said it was you. How can you use this knowledge in your life?
I guess it's about choosing to let those heavy, negative thoughts pass. But, it's so hard sometimes when they feel so real.
It's not easy at all. This is something we have to practice, like learning to ride a bike. You might wobble or fall a few times, but you get back up. How do you think you would feel if you could let those big shrimp pass?
It would be such a relief. I'd feel lighter, more energized. I'd be able to really be there for my kids and enjoy moments with my husband instead of being stuck in my head.
And you would have more time for other things. You say you worry 5 hours a day, that's 35 hours a week, almost a full-time job. What would you use all that time for?
Wow, 35 hours? That's wild to think about. I'd love to spend more time playing with my kids, maybe take them to the park or just be silly together. I'd go on more walks in the forest, maybe even have actual date nights with my husband. Just live a little more.
When considering who's more psychologically healthy, I would say it's not immediately clear, as it's not what happens to us, but how we react that shapes our well-being. Everyone experiences negative thoughts, but not everyone dwells on them for hours, which can then lead to psychological discomfort or disorders. Constantly watching death and destruction through news or social media heightens our focus on threats, creating a vicious cycle of anxiety. When you're constantly looking for threats, your brain prioritizes negative information, filtering out neutral and positive signals, which in turn can make the world seem more dangerous than it is. I think two factors are important. One, how sensitive you are, or how much you dwell on these thoughts. And two, how many hours you actively engage with news about death and destruction. I believe most people experience negative mental effects from too much of this content. Personally, I try to limit my exposure because I believe we are not evolutionarily suited to handle the entire planet's suffering. For most of our existence, our awareness has extended only to the small area around our home. Additionally, focusing on negative content amplifies it. But not only that, algorithms worsen this by feeding us more of the negative, addictive content we have already consumed. Feel free to ask questions in the comment section. Thank you for watching and take care.